Let's get into the big game passing props. Start off with Brock Purdy, quarterback there of the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy played in 18 games this year, Mike. His average pass yards for the season, again, this would be the mean, 266.6. The median, 261 for him. The low was 125 yards. So he had a 125-yard game. It was that weird Browns game in which McCaffrey and Debo both exited that game. So that was his low on the season, 125. His high, 368. That was a win at home against Seattle. Only 19 completions in that game for 368 yards. He had completions of 54, 45, 44, 30, 30, 27, 25, 25, and 24. So if that lets you know how you get to 368 with only 19 completions, yeah, when you have games like that. So here we are, Brock Purdy sitting at 244 pass yards.
Yeah, he's gone over both this number in both the previous two playoff games, 252, the opening game against Green Bay, then 267 to get past Detroit. When I look at this total, and this is one that I am planning on betting, is I'm going to take the under on the pass yards once we get on actually up to Super Bowl Sunday. Maybe I'll bet it on Saturday, depending what the price is. I don't see a ton of possessions in this game. And without the possessions, with the fact that the weakness here with the Kansas City defense is facing the run game, I expect quite a bit of McCaffrey, especially early in this game. And I'm not sure what your take is here. I don't see a world where Kansas City's up 14, where Kansas City's up 17, and I think that's when you would see a lot of these Brock Purdy passing yards. If San Francisco is forced to try and come back in this football game, and if that's the case, Brock Purdy's going to be at like 50 yards at halftime, because if he's not able to complete the ball and they're down, he's going to be at a very low total. I see multiple paths to success here for the Brock Purdy under, so I'm going to wait until Super Bowl Sunday, but I will be on the under passing yards.
And again, I don't want to beat Purdy up for having good players on his team. Mm-hmm. I will, but it's worth mentioning. I mean, we just talked about it. His high on the season was a 368 passer rate. He had splash plays. 54, 45, 44, 30, 30, 27, 25, 25. Like, these are all considered splash plays. That is tons of yards after catch. And yes, he does have the personnel to do that. However, you can't just bank on guys taking 7-yard passes 50 yards, and like, that's the thing, right? I mean, you just kind of have to look at it from the standpoint of, could it happen? Sure. Has it happened multiple times this season? Obviously, but I'm not going to go into a game and say, you know what, he's going to have a whole bunch of 6-yard completions that go for 40 yards.
Especially against this Chiefs defense, which is going to be ready to handle those short completions to McCaffrey, to Debo, who have the ability to break it, like you said, but not something you can really bank on and not something you should be expecting here. This is a significantly more difficult test for this 49ers offense as well. Green Bay and Detroit, I would say porous at best on defense. This is a Kansas City team that absolutely plays solid pass defense, fourth in the NFL heading into this game. I think it's a long day for the pass offense. I think the run offense has a lot of success, but I think throwing the football is going to be a problem for San Francisco.
20.5 completions for Brock Purdy, and that is the interesting thing here, because it's not necessarily, for me, a straight line to the under on both, because I do think there could be actually a decent amount of completions in this game because of the fact that you have those elite corners on the outside for Kansas City. So with that, Purdy might have a ton of little dump-offs over the middle. There might be several passes to Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, Kittle over the middle, Debo just running those little drags and things like that. So I don't think it's necessarily under with something like that. I could see a 22 completion game that still doesn't get him at 250 yards.
I'm going to keep an eye on how high this goes, because right now we're juiced minus 125 to the over. It looks like this one's going to be one of those that's going to be hammered toward the over. He only went over 20.5 completions 7 times this year. Mm-hmm. It's not like, and again, I don't think there's a ton of possessions this game, and I think they have success running the football. To me, that lends itself toward an under here on completions as well. For me, pretty much everything on here, except possibly pass downs and interceptions, would be leans toward the under with Brock Purdy.
You can see how this prop, though, is lined, guys. It is certainly thought that this Kansas City defense will be able to do something here. He was only under this 244.5 on 5 different occasions over the course of the season.